This is a clear violation of the bylaws, and the grill must be removed from the porch today.
I understand, but any action taken will be considered trespassing.
Cold air hit my face and hazard lights flashed red across my porch as a tow strap snapped tight around my grill. It was 6:12 a.m., the street still wet, the smell of asphalt and my coffee fighting in the dark. A board member in a neon vest barked from the sidewalk, "Unpaid dues, sir, property of the association now." He held a clipboard like it was a badge. Our HOA president stood beside him, arms crossed, the queen of cul-de-sacs. A neighbor peeked from behind a curtain then vanished. I heard the ratchet click, 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 and watched my stainless steel grill roll down my steps like it was being arrested. I said, "Calm down, this is insane." She smiled like a cat and waved the tow truck on. Metal scraped, my stomach dropped, and the morning went from quiet to chaos. That's how it started. HOA seized my porch grill for unpaid dues, had no idea I am their prosecutor. That's the whole fight in one sentence. They said I owed $280 plus a late fee of $50. I had proof I paid on May 3, 2024, at 9:00 p.m. through the portal. I emailed the receipt. I called the office. I even walked into the clubhouse with my laptop and a calm voice. The manager kept repeating policy like a robot while the president stared at the wall clock. Neighbors whispered in the parking lot. "We're with you, but we can't get on her bad side." I left with nothing but an empty porch and a smear of grease where my grill used to be. Anger lit my chest, but I knew my line in the sand. No shouting. No stunts. Only proper channels. I sat at my kitchen table and began building the case like I do at work, slow, neat, deadly. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. Timeline item 1 April 5 at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. Timeline item 2 May 3 electronic dues payment processed at 9:00 p.m. Timeline item 3 May 6 at 6:12 a.m. unlawful seizure of personal property. I filed public records requests for police calls and code complaints tied to our block. A week later the file landed with 63 pages. The same board member had dialed 9 non-emergency complaints in 2 months. The president filed 3 false barking dog reports against the same neighbor who ran for a board seat. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I also pulled their non-profit filings. The fine schedule they used wasn't adopted in an open meeting. That mattered. I promised myself I would keep it clean. So I set a trap that was just paperwork and sunlight. The board announced a violation hearing for me on May 20, 2024, at 9:00 p.m. in the clubhouse. I RSVP'd yes and sent a certified letter asking them to preserve evidence, needing notices, camera footage of my porch, proof of chain of custody for seized items. That same day I copied the city code inspector, the property manager's regional office, and the police community liaison. I included one line that always gets attention: please confirm whether the board is authorized to store seized property in mechanical rooms. At 8:58 p.m., I walked in with my binder and a small tripod. The room smelled like coffee and dry erase markers. The president smirked. "We will now consider sanctions," she said. $100 per day until the debt is paid. I held up a page. "Before you vote, you should know something about me, and about tonight's guests." The clubhouse door opened and 2 people stepped in, not with drama, just with clipboards. The city inspector nodded to the board and asked where seized items were kept pending dispute. The manager pointed toward a locked door labeled pool pump. The inspector's eyebrows went up. He asked for the key. We walked down a narrow hall. The room was hot and loud. There, against a wall of filters and chemical drums, sat 3 grills and 2 patio chairs stacked like junk, including mine with a new scratch on the lid. The inspector took photos. He read out the rule: no storage of combustible materials in mechanical rooms. The president started saying something about temporary placement. The inspector shook his head. Back in the meeting room, he issued 2 citations on the spot, civil penalties documented, and ordered immediate release of property. I could feel the air shift. Then came the flip they never saw coming. A police sergeant stepped forward and asked to address the board about call history. He held up the public records I'd requested. 14 complaints tied to 2 names, many unfounded. The sergeant's tone stayed mild. False statements waste resources. He turned to the president. There's also an open case for a false report from April 5 at 4:27 a.m. about trespass that camera footage disproved. He glanced at me like we'd practiced. We had not. And here's where the title lands: the president had no idea I am a prosecutor. I said clear and loud, for the record, that I work as an assistant city attorney handling misdemeanor prosecutions. I also said I would not and could not touch any case involving my own HOA, and had already recused the minute I saw the names. But my office is aware. The room went quiet. The president's smirk slid off her face like rain off a windshield. Phones came out. Neighbors filmed. Someone whispered, "She's cooked." A teenager from the next building tapped captions on a live stream. Comment count soared past 500 in minutes. That night, clips of the inspector opening the pump room hit our neighborhood page and then local Reddit. People laughed at the sight of 3 grills hiding beside chlorine buckets. The board tried to gavel control, but the inspector read his citations out loud, and the sergeant handed over a property release form. One neighbor clapped. Another said, "Return the fees." The next morning, the regional manager emailed an apology and a refund receipt for $330. An hour later, my colleague, not me, filed a criminal complaint for the April 5 false report. The charge carried a maximum fine and mandatory court costs. The board president posted a long statement about misunderstandings. The comments were brutal and also fair. By June 1, peace returned. My grill came home with a formal apology letter and a fresh propane tank paid by the management company. The board president resigned and was barred from holding office for 2 years under our bylaws. The HOA adopted a new fine schedule in an open meeting, posted notices in plain words, and ended the practice of dawn seizures. The city closed the citations after the clubhouse passed re-inspection. Neighbors who used to hide behind curtains brought folding chairs to the greenbelt and we held a block cookout. I flipped burgers for a kid who watched the whole saga through his bedroom window. He said, "You didn't even yell." I said, "You don't have to. Paperwork is loud." Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.